Stop scrolling. Look at the screen. Somewhere behind the high walls of a gated estate, a dog named Gunther Zix is waking up. He stretches, paws kneading into the deep, soft fibers of a velvet cushion. He blinks, shakes his ears, and trots across a marble floor that once echoed with the footsteps of Madonna. Gunther Zix does not understand the concept of a bank account. He does not know what a mortgage is, nor does he care about the fluctuating value of his real estate portfolio. Yet, he owns this villa. He owns the land it sits on. He is not a pet in the traditional sense. He is a billionaire. While he dreams of chasing squirrels, his assets are managed by a global network of executors. He lives in a world where the inheritance laws are as bizarre as the lifestyle. He is the centerpiece of a multi-million-dollar operation, a living entity whose net worth dwarfs that of most Hollywood celebrities. Gunther Zix stands at the center of this surreal existence, unaware that his every breath is funded by a fortune that would change a human life forever. To understand how a dog became a global tycoon, we must look back at the legend of Gunther IV. When his owner, a German countess, reached the end of her life, she bypassed her distant relatives entirely. She left her entire fortune to her German shepherd. At the time, it was a scandal. Critics called it madness, but the executors appointed to manage the estate saw something else: potential. They did not simply hold the money in a vault. They treated the inheritance as a high-stakes investment fund. They bought property, they acquired assets, they diversified. Decades later, the results are staggering. Gunther does not just sit on a pile of cash. He travels by private jet to oversee his holdings. He dines on prime steak, served by a personal butler who manages his schedule with military precision. The Countess left a dog a fortune, but the executors built a kingdom. But the story of animal wealth does not end with dogs. Consider the case of Choupette, a cat whose life is defined by high-stakes professional management. When her owner, a legendary fashion designer, passed away, he ensured his feline companion would never know a day of struggle. This was not merely a bequest, it was a transition into a new career. Choupette does not chase mice or lounge in sunbeams. She works. She has her own security detail to manage her movements, a personal assistant to oversee her schedule, and a custom-designed diet prepared by culinary experts. She models for global high-end brands, her image a valuable commodity in the fashion industry. Her lifestyle is not just expensive, it is a meticulously managed corporate operation. Every photo shoot is negotiated, every appearance is curated, and every contract is signed by those acting on her behalf. While other pets might be content with a backyard, Choupette operates within a framework of professional branding. She is a feline in a boardroom, a creature whose daily existence is optimized for profit and prestige. She represents a shift in the paradigm of pet ownership, where the animal is no longer just a recipient of funds, but an active participant in a luxury economy. You might ask, how does a creature without a signature or a social security number legally own a bank account? The answer lies in the cold, precise mechanism of the pet trust. These are not merely sentimental gestures. They are sophisticated legal structures designed to bypass the limitations of biology. A human trustee is appointed, bound by strict fiduciary duty to manage funds exclusively for the animal's welfare. This is where the surreal meets the bureaucratic. The trust dictates every cent of expenditure, from specialized veterinary care to the hiring of private chefs and the maintenance of climate-controlled living quarters. It is a calculated, artificial reality. The money does not belong to the animal in the way we understand ownership. It belongs to the infrastructure built around them. The trust pays for the groundskeepers, the security teams, and the logistics of a life lived in total comfort. It turns the pet into a legal entity, a focal point for a complex web of contracts and obligations. By creating these trusts, owners ensure that their companions exist in a permanent, protected bubble. The legal architecture of the pet trust finds its most absurd expression in the countryside. Consider the case of a horse that inherited a sprawling, multi-acre estate. This was not a simple pasture. It was a massive, self-sustaining operation. The trust did not just provide for feed and shelter, it funded a full-time staff of groundskeepers, trainers, and specialized stable hands. These professionals were employed solely to maintain the animal's daily existence. They spent hours grooming the coat, polishing the hooves, and curating the perfect exercise routine across miles of private trails. The horse lived in a state of permanent, high-maintenance luxury, oblivious to the complex logistics required to sustain its lifestyle. Every morning, a team arrived to clear the paths, check the fences, and monitor the soil quality of the paddocks. They operated on a rigid schedule, ensuring the animal never encountered a moment of discomfort or environmental change. It is a striking image. Grown men and women dedicating their professional lives to the comfort of a creature that does not understand the concept of wealth or labor. The estate functioned like a clock, with every gear turning to serve the needs of one animal. The scale of these animal-centric environments defies common logic. We have observed dogs residing in custom-built swimming pools, complete with filtration systems that mirror high-end commercial spas. These are not simple water features. They are engineering feats designed for a single canine. Even more jarring are the indoor living spaces. Some cats inhabit rooms equipped with advanced climate regulation technology that maintains a perfect, unchanging atmosphere. The construction costs for these specialized quarters often exceed the price of an average family home. Think about that. A single room, built for a feline, commands a higher market value than the entire living space of a working family. It is a staggering financial disparity. That forces a reevaluation of how we assign worth to physical space. These rooms are not just shelters, they are sterile, high-tech bubbles where every degree of temperature is monitored, and every airflow is calibrated. The air is filtered to hospital standards, and the surfaces are crafted from materials that would be considered luxury in any human residence. This is not about comfort anymore. It is about the total removal of environmental reality. When a room for a pet costs more than a house for a human, the definition of value has been fundamentally rewritten. The obsession with animal comfort extends beyond architecture into the realm of the auditory. Some owners have taken the concept of a calm environment to its absolute limit by hiring professional musicians to perform live. Imagine a violinist standing in a climate-controlled chamber, playing complex compositions for an audience of one cat or dog. These performers are not playing for a crowd. They are employed to curate a sonic landscape specifically for the animal. They monitor the pet's breathing, adjusting the tempo and volume to ensure the creature remains in a state of perpetual relaxation. It is a surreal scene. A master musician, trained for years, dedicating their craft to a creature that cannot comprehend the art. The music fills the room, vibrating against walls that cost a fortune, creating a sensory bubble that is entirely artificial. It blurs the line between a pet and a royal heir so thoroughly that the distinction becomes meaningless. Beyond the walls of these mansions, the logistical machinery required to maintain these lifestyles is equally staggering. Consider the act of travel. These animals do not navigate the crowded corridors of commercial terminals. Instead, they utilize private aviation networks that bypass public scrutiny entirely. A team of handlers coordinates flight paths, secures tarmac access, and ensures that the transition from a private vehicle to a private jet is seamless and invisible. The animal is never exposed to the friction of public travel. Upon arrival, the logistics shift to the hospitality sector. It is not uncommon for a representative to book an entire floor of a luxury hotel, not for a human entourage, but to ensure that a single cat or dog has total silence and security. These are not simple reservations. They are complex contracts involving security details, specialized cleaning crews, and the reconfiguration of hotel staff protocols. Every step of the journey is a calculated movement, managed by a network of professionals whose sole job is to maintain the illusion of a normal life for a creature that has never known a day of labor. This is the reality of the pet billionaire. A life sustained by a logistical operation that would be the envy of any global executive. These stories of canine and feline opulence force a shift in perspective. It is no longer about the sheer scale of the numbers or the extravagance of the mansions. It is about the deep, often eccentric bonds that drive humans to secure a future for their companions that exceeds their own. We have examined the portfolios, the private travel, and the meticulously managed environments. Yet, the question remains, what does this reveal about our own priorities? Does looking at a pet with a trust fund change how you view your own savings account, or the way you provide for your own animals? Perhaps it is not just about the money. It is about the lengths to which we go to project our love and our ambition onto those who cannot comprehend the value of a dollar. We want to hear your take on this surreal reality. If you were a billionaire, would you leave your fortune to a pet, or is this simply too much? Hit the subscribe button to join our community and keep exploring the bizarre edges of wealth. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Would you trust a pet with a fortune? Or does the line between pet and heir belong exactly where it is? We are waiting to hear from you.